Hello everyone. Did you know India is actually called the pharmacy of the world? But even then, for a lot of Indian pharma companies, the most important market is the US and not India. India has a very prominent position in the global pharma industry supply chain. And because of this position and the industry dynamics, Indian pharma companies have more than 12 lakh crore opportunity opening up in the next 10 years. So if all the cards are played right, Indian pharma companies, a lot of which are even listed on the stock markets, stand to make a lot of money in the coming few years. So hi guys, I'm Anushka here, and in this video we'll understand first the structure of the pharma industry, second the regulation that governs it, and third we'll talk about the opportunity that is opening up for the Indian pharma companies in detail. So let's get started. As I said earlier, the most important market for Indian pharma companies is actually the US, and this is because first, out of the 1.27 trillion global market, the US pharma market accounts for 47% of it, amounting to $527 billion. And second, people in the US demand for high quality pharma products, and the US per capita spending is the highest in the world, almost 100 times more than India. This makes it an attractive market for Indian pharma companies, which has the benefit of skilled labor and low-cost manufacturing capacity behind them. To understand how the US pharmaceutical industry works and how India fits in it, let's go through the life cycle of a drug. For this, we'll take the example of Lipitor. It is an anti-cholesterol drug which helps preventing heart attack for those people who are at a very high risk of getting them. Lipitor was actually synthesized in the US in the year 1985, but it didn't come to market till the year 1996. This is because there are a lot of exhaustive regulatory procedures that have to be followed in the US. Lipitor went on constant research and development and then followed a lot of regulatory compliances that was set by US FDA, which is US Food and Drug Administration. They had to file all the details regarding research and development, manufacturing process, and the results of multiple clinical trials that showed why and how this drug is better than existing drugs in the market for this particular disease. This filing by the Lipitor's manufacturer is actually called NDA or New Drug Application. So the company that synthesized Lipitor actually partnered with Pfizer, and together they got the NDA approval in 1996. Now this NDA approval meant that they had the patent to the drug Lipitor and they had the exclusive right to sell it for a particular time period. Now these type of drugs which have this exclusivity are called as branded or original drugs. The price of these drugs are very high since it has to recover all the historical costs relating to research and regulatory compliances, and the company also has to make a profit on these drugs before the exclusivity expires. By 2003, Lipitor had become the best-selling drug in the US. Between 1997 and 2012, during the exclusivity period, Lipitor brought in $125 billion worldwide for Pfizer, with almost about $12 billion in revenue each year. But this exclusive time period in which the company can sell those drugs is not forever. As soon as this exclusivity period gets over, a lot of other pharma companies enter the market and sell what is called as generic drugs. Now these generic drugs have the same efficacy as the branded drugs, and they are manufactured by the means of reverse engineering. Reverse engineering essentially means breaking down the drug to determine the identity and the quantity of its components. Using this knowledge, generic manufacturers create a similar drug. Such drugs are known as generic drugs. Because it is open to everyone, any manufacturer with the capabilities can make it. Therefore, as the exclusivity expires, the price of drugs go down by as much as 85 to 90%. Generic drug manufacturers are still able to make profit on such deflated prices because they do not undertake clinical trials or do extensive research and development. Their main cost goes into reverse engineering the process and to prove the equivalent efficacy of the drugs. This is the reason why the gap in the price of branded and generic drug is so huge. But not every company can sell these generic drugs. There are regulations here as well. Any company that wants to sell a generic drug has to file a ANDA, which is Abbreviated New Drug Application, with the US FDA. Now this application essentially proves that the generic drug that they are selling is as effective as the branded drug. There are four types of ANDA. Para 1, these are for drugs that do not have any patent on them. Para 2, these are for drugs who have patent but they have expired like long ago. Para 3, these are for drugs whose patents are about to expire, generally in 6 months. Now these three ANDAs are very normal, but the most commercially lucrative one is Para 4 ANDA. Now remember when I said that whenever a company gets a patent for a drug, they get an exclusive time period to sell that drug? This exclusive time period is actually shorter than the duration of a patent. So for example, if a drug has a patent for 20 years, the exclusivity period might only be for 5 to 7 years. And when this exclusivity period gets over, the other companies can come and challenge the patent. Here the company that is challenging the patent has to prove that the patent is invalid or that their own generic drug is not infringing the patented drug. So what these companies do is that they make a very similar drug, but they use a completely different process to make the drug. Hence the drug that is made does not exactly infringe the patent of the existing drug and has a very similar efficacy to the existing branded drug. Now, after the exclusivity period of any drug is over, a lot of companies go to file the Para 4 ANDA. And a lot of companies actually even get the approval for Para 4 ANDA. All the companies that get approved get an exclusivity period of 180 days to sell that drug, and they are called as first to file applications. Now this 180-day time period that these pharma companies get is extremely crucial for them. They're essentially selling a drug in the market at 10% of the cost which was there a few months back. This is the time where they focus extensively on marketing their drug and creating a customer base for themselves. In case of Lipitor, Ranbaxy India, which is now merged with Sun Pharma, was the first company in the world that came up with a generic version of Lipitor when it went off patent in November 2011 in the US. After going through certain regulatory challenges, the drug Ranbaxy got the first to file status. This means for 180 days, that is from December 2011 to May 2012, Ranbaxy and Pfizer were the only two companies selling this particular drug in the market. And as said earlier, the price of Lipitor took a huge hit, and so did the revenue of Pfizer when the generic started showing up in the market. In Q2 financial year 2012, just 6 months after the expiry of exclusivity of Lipitor in the US, the revenue of Lipitor fell by 53%, bringing in $1.22 billion as compared to $3.25 billion before. For US alone, revenue from the drug fell by 79%. After May 2011, multiple pharma companies started selling generic version of Lipitor in the market all around the world. The price of Lipitor went from $40 in 2011 to $19 in 2012, and today it stands at $7. So as we saw, the price of Lipitor dropped drastically after the exclusivity period got over, but Ranbaxy, which made the generic version of Lipitor and got the 180-day exclusivity period, made huge profits from selling the generic version of Lipitor. Now, similar to Lipitor, which was a blockbuster drug, a lot of other big drugs are actually going to lose their exclusivity period in the coming decade. And this is where the gold mine for Indian pharma companies is. If any company is able to get even a small market share of such drugs once it expires, it will be a huge deal for the company. Examples of drugs which do billions of dollars in revenue every year but are losing their exclusivity in the next decade is Humira, a biosimilar of which has already been developed by Zydus Cadila. Second is Keytruda, where Serum Institute is involved in making a biosimilar. The third drug that we'll talk about is Revlimid. In 2020, Revlimid bought in $12.1 billion. Its exclusivity will expire in 2026. Natco Pharma, along with Dr. Reddy and Sun Pharma, are working on a generic version of this drug. Now, the drugs that are expiring in the next decade, making the generic version and getting the regulatory approval for them is not exactly a cakewalk. It is an extremely complex and difficult process. Also, the competition has increased so much that there are a lot of companies that apply for these Para 4 ANDAs, and a lot of companies get the first to file 180-day exclusive period, and hence the company is not able to dominantly set its footprint in the exclusivity period. This essentially reduces their profit margins. But this is what makes it extremely interesting to keep a track of this sector and all the Indian pharmaceutical companies which are in this game of getting Para 4 approvals. The Indian pharma companies have changed their ways from going after anything and everything to now entering only drugs that have high margins and low competition. The R&D capabilities of these companies have also improved tremendously, with many of them applying for NDAs now. Indian pharma companies actually account for 40% of the total generic formulations sold in the US. And outside of US, India has the highest number of approved facilities by US FDA. Not only this, Indian companies are focusing a lot on R&D and have improved their capabilities a lot in the last few years, and hence they are now even filing for a few NDAs. So the future of Indian pharma sector definitely looks very exciting but has its own set of challenges. With that, we come to the end of this video. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more such video. Also, disclaimer here, all the companies' names that were taken in this video are only for educational purposes and not a buying recommendation. So see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.